Okay, here we go. Starting this live. Haven't done a live in a while, it feels like. I'm going to do a live with Laurel, someone who I got to know in the last few months. She's going to get on any minute, and we're going to have a conversation about being mothers and about connection and support and togetherness, intuition, and all that good stuff. Oh, great. This should work. Let me accept the invitation. Unable to join. Let me try again. Try to send the request again. It says unable to join. I don't know why. Oh, it worked. Okay, great. That's much better. Okay, so I am Rifki Goldstein. For anybody who's watching this and doesn't know me yet, I'm a mother of 7 children and a parent coach and educator. And I got to know Laurel I think it's about 3 months ago. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Laurel, and I met Rifki on Instagram. She has been an amazing parenting mentor and coach and friend to me over the last few months, and I'm so grateful that I met her and that I've learned so much from her. So I'm really looking forward to this call.
Same here, by the way. I love our conversations. They're always so enriching.
Yeah.
So I guess I would love for us to dive in and talk about let's talk about what it feels like in 2023 to be a mother in terms of support. And when I say support, I don't only mean people bringing over meals, which is like amazing and super important, but I I would love to hear what you have to say first, and then
Sure.
I'll add anything that comes up for me.
So it's interesting that you bring up the whole thing about meals because um, that that did feel very supportive for me when I first had my kids. But then it kind of stops after that. It's like, well, what do I do now? Um, and that's a really scary place to be when you're a new mom or even a seasoned mom. And even if you're surrounded by a great community and great friends and family, I have I have not met a mother that has yet like felt that support that they truly need um, in the way that they need. Um,
Yeah,
it's very hard to find that village,
yeah,
and
it's
that's what we're all looking
really,
for.
yeah, it's really hard to come by. I mean, like something that comes to mind, and this is especially like in the early stages, and this is kind of a theme I think in general, and not just in motherhood, but I think we live in a society that is generally like more prone to fixing problems, and we don't know. We weren't taught. We don't know how to be with. I like to use this term, be with. And like, I just envision like how often a mother who, just had a baby. So we're speaking about the meals, like she might, everybody's question is always, so is the baby sleeping through the night? Is the baby letting you sleep? And if the answer is like, well, no, I'm actually exhausted. Usually we're met with very well-meaning intentioned people. Everybody's well-meaning, but the response is usually like fixes, like, oh, well, you should train your baby and you should this and you should that. And I just don't know how helpful fixes really are, you know?
I I completely agree with you. And something that I've really learned from you is the need for having space, not
Mm,
space from people, but to have the space to feel everything that you're experiencing. And I know I've called you a container a few times, that
mm,
you've been the container for that, of mothers being able to have that place where they can express their fears, their needs, their their feelings about being a mother and about being a mother in this world that we live in that's so hyper connected and information is just constantly being thrown at you, but there's so little like authentic connection.
yeah.
And it's so important what you're doing, cultivating that um, in this little corner of the internet, but it's so important.
Mm. I feel like it's been kind of a calling of mine for a long time before I even was consciously aware of it, where there was something that always just felt so important to me, is that people should never have to feel alone. Somehow that line was so powerful for me long before I knew that I was going to do anything about it. Um, I'm glad I'm doing something about it now. But like when that mother, and we've all been that mother, says like, I'm so exhausted, my baby's waking up a whole night. I think that what most of us would really benefit from is a hug and understanding.
Yeah.
And that accomplishes actually so much, because you come away from that with several things. First of all, like the emotional connection is like something unbelievable that many of us don't have, and therefore we don't know what we're missing.
Yeah.
But also, she comes away with knowing like that, when another mother gives her that hug and like understanding, she comes away knowing like this is so normal. It's normal to be tired at this phase, we're all doing it. We're all doing it, and you have that sense of togetherness in the difficulty, which gives you so much strength, so much strength. So in a way, coming with fixes in any connection, any relationship, actually tells us there is something wrong with me until I fix this. But there isn't. There isn't anything wrong.
And
So
also,
yeah,
adding on to what you were saying about just giving the hug and allowing a mother to feel supported, that allows that mother to give that to another mother or her
absolutely.
child. And just to know that it's safe to feel whatever it is you're feeling and experiencing. And chances are you're going to come across a mother that feels the same way and needs that support, and you'll know exactly how to provide it rather than
Exactly.
the fix.
Exactly. Because we actually learn from what we experience physically, what we receive in our bodies, not so much like from what we're told. So if we're receiving empathy and understanding, now our body has absorbed that and we're able to pass it on to others. I actually just had this experience right before Shavuos last week. Someone brought me some food unexpectedly as just a kindness, some dips for the holiday. And I was so moved. Like I felt so, I was like receiving that, and it was such a moving experience. And then just a few minutes later, someone stopped by to drop something off, a nephew of mine. And I just had all that joy of receiving kindness in me. And I was like, I'm not just going to like take whatever he was dropping off. He was dropping off just a random thing. And I was like, no, I want to give him something too. And I was like, do you want to like take some magazines for to bring home with you to read over Yom Tif? It was just like that. That's how it goes. Like we receive it, and then it's like we're able to pass it on, and to our children too, by the way.
Yeah,
Of course.
absolutely. That's who benefits from it, the kids.
Yeah, amazing. That was just my alarm on my phone to turn off my phone at 9 o'clock, but this is an exception. But I will turn it off after. Yeah, so that's, you were telling me a little bit about, we were talking this morning about also something amazing that both of us have experienced, is how you're able to, you feel like relief in your body. Let's say when you know, encounter certain types of parenting ideas, and then others are different. They don't feel like that. Do you want to share more about that experience?
Sure. So it took me quite a bit of practice in noticing that that was even happening to me, that I was avoiding that feeling of this doesn't feel right to me, because we're so conditioned to not allow ourselves to really feel what's going on internally.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of things in this world are just not created for that sense of safety. So through the things that we've talked about and through just the practice of having a safe space to feel and talk about motherhood in a way that isn't a fixer, I've been able to feel what feels right to me in, for example, like we've talked about preschool or wherever we are. It could be anywhere. Situations that don't feel good to me in that moment, and just learning to recognize it, like, oh, I'm feeling that tightness. I'm feeling softness. I'm feeling open. I'm feeling closed. And not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily judging what's going on, just noticing and noticing patterns, which helps
Yeah.
me sort of develop my intuition more as a mother and
Yeah.
as a mother navigating the world. So it's come up for me in different parenting social media accounts that I've noticed are just not really speaking to me anymore. And maybe they never really did.
Mm.
I wasn't really aware, but like I
Mm.
said to you previously, it was like the gateway to gentle parenting, which by the way, I really had no idea what gentle parenting was, and I thought
Yeah.
I did, and
Yeah.
now I have a much better understanding of what it is. But that also speaks to the information that's constantly being thrown at us on the internet of this is gentle parenting and this is how you do it and this is what you need to know and here's all this stuff you have to get done, which is really not gentle parenting.
It's also not gentle on the parent
It's not
sometimes.
exactly. It's not gentle at all. So I think it's just about tuning into yourself, and that's
Mm-hmm.
hard to do, and that takes practice. That's a skill. And
Yeah.
through having that place of just I'm free to feel here, and I don't feel like I have to fix anything, has been totally different than, let's say, going to a therapist
Mm.
or
So interesting.
something more like clinical.
Yeah.
Um, like I've learned more from you in 2 months than I've learned in years of going to talk therapy. I'm serious. Like I've just learned so much. And like I said to you the other day, it just takes a safe space. It doesn't, you don't
Yeah.
need somebody with like all these credentials. I mean, for some people, I'm sure, it works and all that, but for me, it really has just been having that place to experience what I'm experiencing, and there's no judgment, there's no solution. It's just uncovering what's already there.
Yeah. And I think that's like kind of like really the way we were meant to interact as women, that we were built to support each other in this way. And again, like it's just it's an art that has been lost, but we're reviving it, we're reviving it. There's some sort of like support that I think as women we can give each other that's unique. I also wanted to mention that I loved how you mentioned earlier, you were saying, I'm just noticing when you were talking about like noticing your feelings. Like the word notice is a great word because I feel like it really conveys what we're trying to say is this is not like some sort of, you're not, keeping log of, you're like, it's just gentle. It's gentle on you too.
Right.
So, yeah, I feel like this is such a valuable piece. And I have stopped to some degree sharing um, like what to do in parenting because I've just been starting to feel like that we all, I mean, the vast majority of us really know and we want to. And the reasons that we're not, maybe sometimes skill related, like maybe we just don't know what to do when. It could be that is the case. And I know that, of course, there were things I just didn't know what to do. Like I might be in a situation where, like, but I don't know what to do. That does happen.
Right.
But I feel like for the most part, one of the largest reasons that we struggle is not related so much to the fact that we don't know what to do as parents. It's just that we don't have enough support or we're going through challenging things in our own lives. And so that's why anybody who's been following me for a while, or if you scroll back to my earlier content, it was much more about what you should do as a parent and what you should say and how you should think, and more like it's just shifting to how can we support, how can I support, can I validate I want to bring more validation to what's hard about being a parent so that we come away feeling a little bit less alone. And then suddenly we find like the answers within. Like then we know what to
Yeah,
do, you know?
exactly. I completely agree. I'm just thinking back to that whole concept of feeling safe amongst other women, um, and how certain spaces in our society are not conducive to that safety because of the way it's designed.
Yeah,
And it's not the fault of the people who are in the system, it's the system. And it's like a
exactly.
whole societal problem in a lot of ways. But just going back to that feeling of when you feel safe in your body and when you feel safe emotionally, you can really let your guard down. And that's when the wisdom comes out. So, like you're saying
Yeah.
about the content that you've shifted into, that it's not about here's how you do this. It's just here's here's a shift. It's just like here's a way to shift, kind of. Um, because like we talked about how when women are feeling safe, when their bodies are soft and open, then we can really connect and talk to each other. We're not trying to fix each other. Um,
Mhm.
and I mentioned that influencer Jake Woodard, who talks about the polarity between masculine and feminine, and he talks a lot about how women who are embodying their feminine are soft and open and
Yeah.
ready to receive, whereas a guarded woman is someone who is looking to fix and like is
Yeah.
sort of, it's not as soft, for lack of a better word. So like you said, like when women and mothers are together in a safe space, we can just truly support each other. And that's what the village has to be. It's not
Mhm.
necessarily like, I mean, sometimes it's, hey, who knows how to do this? Or does somebody have a stroller I can borrow? Or how do you potty train? Like those are
Yeah.
definitely important aspects of a village, but it's really that emotional container that
Yeah.
we're lacking as a whole.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I just want to say, like, it doesn't, I just want to clarify that this is not like, I know for myself and you, like, it's not like we're saying that, content creators who are sharing the how-tos in
Oh
parenting,
yeah,
there's something wrong with it. There is totally, like, I know that I also needed to know what to do and I
absolutely.
needed to know what to say. It's
Yeah.
all valuable, but for me personally, I just feel like I want to shift more to a different kind of support. And for me,
Right.
that feels like, supporting the mother and, the validation and the connection. I mean, this was our experience this week and whatever, this last week's, it got broken up a little bit, but in Mother Together, I mean, we didn't even have in mind to talk about that, but in the Mother Together group, I felt like so supported. I felt like there was so much safety in the room. It was a Zoom room, but there was so much
Mhm.
safety in that room. It's like, it's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
And yeah, what you're saying is absolutely true. Like there's so many accounts like here's activities you can do on a rainy day or when the kids are out of control or you're bored or whatever, or here's how you feed a picky eater. Like those are so important and so valuable and I use them all the time. But like you said, you offer something totally, totally different, and really special.
Thank you. Did you want to share your experience of handheld? Did your baby
Sure.
cry?
No,
You were worried
that's,
that
oh,
sleep.
no, that's
You
my cat meowing.
were okay. You weren't sure if your baby was asleep.
The baby's asleep, thank God.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, so I I'll just start with the backstory of how I found you, I guess.
Sure. By the
Okay.
way, also you could explain what handheld actually is, because maybe some people
Yeah,
aren't familiar.
sure.
Yeah.
So I had been a follower of Bleemy Heller for a very long time. She runs unconditional parenting. And I absolutely love all her content. And sometimes I would comment, like her posts, and so suggested posts would come up, and Rifki's account came up as somebody I should follow. And I had never heard of Rifki, and it's a totally random connection. It's like totally beshared. I don't know. And I clicked on her account and I was like, oh, this is an interesting person. Don't know her, but sure, I'll follow her. And then I saw Rifki had all this very similar content to Bleemy Heller on respectful and gentle parenting, and also offered the space for mothers in her content. So I thought it was really interesting. And then I noticed that she had this program called Handheld. And basically what Handheld is and has been for me is I've been able to work one-on-one with Rifki for the last few months. I did 2 months, where we would text or WhatsApp throughout the month of different areas that I wanted to work on as a mother. And I originally went into this thinking it was going to be, oh, like it's similar to, let's say, Dr. Becky, lots of how-tos of parenting, but it wasn't. It was support for me as a mother and how to navigate the issues I was facing that I felt so blocked in. For example, I was feeling really stuck in how to connect with my older son. Just totally blocked, like couldn't figure out why he was tantruming, why he was so angry all the time. It was leaving me so upset. And Rifki really taught me how to look for the need under the behavior. And that just totally shifted the way that I looked at what was going on with him. And our connection improved so much. And now I look at him all the time and I'm like, what does he need when he's doing this? So she really gave me a lot of tools that I wasn't able to get from other sort of like parenting coaches. A lot of tools to like look within of how I'm experiencing something. What's going on for me when he's tantruming? What's going on for me when he's not listening or when he's yelling at me or hitting me? Why is this bothering me so much? Mm-hmm. So one issue that we've had is the iPad. I still wish I never introduced an iPad, but that's another story. And the need that I discovered through Rifki just asking me what was going on with me around the iPad was that I needed connection with my son. And it opened up this whole thing about how I am searching for more connections. And it just really reframed the way that I look at my son and the way that I'm looking at like my life as a mother and different relationships in general. And yeah, she's just really helped me to reframe my experience as a mom and to help me sort of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Get us on a different track in our relationship together. Because there was a lot of conflict between my son and I, and now there's a lot more understanding, a lot more of me understanding what he's going through and what he's experiencing, and learning not to take a lot of his behaviors personally. So all through the way that Rifki has just been able to explain it to me, and teach me about it and teach me to look at things through a different lens rather than here's a list of ways to fix this or anything like that. She's also recommended amazing books for me to read, like Playful Parenting, which is an incredible resource. And just, yeah, that's Handheld. And it's just been a really wonderful couple months of just a lot of personal growth and exploration into motherhood and shifting my perspective on what it means to be a gentle and respectful parent and being gentler with myself as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
That's like one of the foundations, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it's so amazing. Like as kind of, you might say, an outsider, and myself, like you're sharing about your life with me and I'm not there, but like, and you're talking about the shift, and I'm looking back now, I'm like, yeah, totally. Like I can see from the different, what was being shared in the beginning compared to what you're talking about now, there has been like, wow, it's unbelievable. The It's just unbelievable and so heartwarming to see how you're able to connect with your son now. It's like, I just want to say, like, I'm so happy for you. I say it's never too late to shift as parents. I did not shift when my children were 5 years old. They were older, and it's never too late. But the earlier, the easier. Like, it's so much easier, and like I feel like you're just setting yourself on a path that's just gonna, God willing, bring so much more joy and connection into your relationship. And it's how this is how handheld came up for me personally, was that I had this experience where I was struggling as a parent tremendously, and there was somebody who was available to me, who at the time was available to help me day to day through texting. And it wasn't like, I totally think there's a benefit to working with a coach one-on-one, an hour session, face to face. I do that myself. I work with a coach every week. But there's a different kind of value in this program because you have that like daily drip, that daily connection. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And that's what it was for me. That's what it was for me. And I looked back at that and I was like, wait, it served me to have that daily support, that daily, like, oh my God, what do I do right now? This is happening. I am overwhelmed. And, and that's how it came about. And that's how it occurred to me. I was like, oh my goodness, like I can do this. Now I can offer this to others. So that's how handheld came about. And yeah, it's been really, really special working with you, special working with the other moms that I worked with in these last 2 months. And I'm really looking forward to sharing it with whoever is interested in this kind of support. So that's what we're here to share. Thank you so much. You offered this, and I'm really appreciative. It hadn't even crossed my mind.
So happy to so happy to share my experience with you. It's been really life-changing for me. I've done parenting books and courses, and it's just too compartmentalized and not really like integrated into your daily life. And like you're saying, that constant drip when you can just text somebody or WhatsApp voice note somebody, it's very different than taking a course where, again, it feels like I've made it to the finish line and now I'm done with this course. I should know everything. Whereas like handheld is truly what it means. You held my hand through all these situations that were coming up, and it just felt like a support in the background of my life, a constant support in the background of someone that I knew that I could talk to, that had wisdom and ideas of just ways to be a mom.
Yeah.
That other programs I haven't seen offer. So
yeah, I mean, I think that some of the other programs, they're wonderful. Again, they're educational.
Yeah.
But I think, it's missing that human component. It's missing the human connection. And it's so much, like, again, we're going back to what we were saying at the beginning. When we have that human connection in our lives that feels safe, we are capable of anything. Yeah. We are capable of so much. And, another fascinating thing I just want to point out before we finish up, another fascinating thing that you have experienced, I believe, and many mothers who have messaged me in handheld, is that you would send me the messages and I don't always answer right away. I answer a little bit later, and sometimes by the time I get to answering, you already figured it out. You know what I'm saying? Like you already got to the core of what was going on for you or what was going on for your son. And again, I feel like that comes so much from that space of being able to just share in a safe space, and then you're able, and you just know it, and then it just clears up whatever's going on, and you're, like you say, you return to your inner wisdom. It's just wonderful to watch.
Yeah, and just turning off the noise of the outside world, because that's
Yeah.
the other component of, being constantly connected is there's tons of stuff just being thrown at you all day long, but when you connect to your inner wisdom, you really connect to the truth of what's true
Yeah.
for you, not what's true for whoever else. So that's another component, like you said, of handheld that was just so groundbreaking for me, was that I could just message you, and like you said, half the time I came up with the answer on my own.
Yeah.
But I just needed that place to go to, that safe place to go to, and to feel
Mm.
safe, you know.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. This is such a wonderful conversation. I really hope that anyone who is listening to this now or in the replay, the recording, that it serves and that it's supportive in and of itself. And if there's anybody that wants to hear more about handheld, you can totally reach out to me. I believe, Laurel, you're
Yeah.
comfortable sharing,
You can message
talking
me.
to people. You can message
Absolutely.
Laurel at any time. And we're just, I'm so grateful that we're able to have this conversation. Thank you again.
Me too.
And
You're very
um,
welcome. Thank you.
yeah, sure. And yeah, have a wonderful Shabbos.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks again.
Bye.
Good night. Bye.